Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Tonight, we've got a huge Thursday night showdown in the NFL. The Buffalo Bills travel to Houston to take on the Texans in Week 12. This game carries major playoff implications, storylines abound, and we're going to break it all down: team form, key players, injuries, matchups, X-factors, betting trends, and of course a prediction at the end. So settle in, and let's go deep. Our matchup: the Bills at the Texans. Kickoff is set for 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time, from NRG Stadium in Houston, and will air on Amazon Prime Video. Let's begin by setting the stage, where each team stands, how they got here, and what this game means. The Bills enter this game with a 7-3 record. They have been one of the more potent offensive teams in the NFL this season, while also showing some defensive vulnerabilities. On offense, the Bills' machine is humming. The quarterback, Josh Allen, continues to deliver as one of the league's top dual-threat players. A passer who can run, and a runner who can pass. His presence gives Buffalo a dynamic element, both through the air and on the ground. For example, the Bills this season rank among the NFL leaders in total yards per game. According to a preview, they are averaging around 387.4 yards of offense per game. In the run game, they have solid production, giving them a balanced attack. On the defensive side, however, the Bills have some key weaknesses, particularly against the run. They have allowed a high number of rushing yards per attempt and per game. For example, one analysis notes they allow about 5.4 yards per rushing attempt and around 153 rushing yards per game. So while the offense is slick, the defense has to tighten up. Another point: the Bills have had success on Thursday Night Football in recent years. They are noted to be 6-0, or 7-0, in Thursday games for Allen. Also relevant, the Bills have not won in Houston since 2006. That adds a bit of historical context. The Texans come in at a 5-5 record. They have had some ups and downs, but one thing stands out: their defense has been among the best in the league. They lead the NFL in fewest points allowed per game, 16.3 ppg, and are elite in yards allowed. Offensively, however, they have struggled. And to make matters more interesting, their starting quarterback C.J. Stroud is out due to a concussion, so backup Davis Mills will start. Houston's home record is a little stronger. At home they tend to play better. The defensive strength gives them a chance to make it disruptive for opponents even when the offense isn't humming at elite levels. Let's dive into the major narratives and matchups that will likely shape this game. 1. Bills offense versus Texans defense. One of the most compelling angles here: Buffalo's high-powered offense meets Houston's elite defense. Buffalo wants to push tempo, create big plays, and lean on Allen's dual threat and their balanced attack. Meanwhile, Houston wants to slow the game, force mistakes, and leverage their defensive dominance. From the odds, the Bills are favored by about 5 to 6 points, with the over/under around 43.5 points. That suggests the expectation is for a moderately low-scoring game, given the Texans' defensive strength. 2. Bills' run defense vulnerability. As noted, Buffalo's run defense has been a concern all season. They allow a lot of rushing yards, and that opens the door for Houston to establish pace, control the clock, and keep Buffalo's offense off the field. Analysts have pointed to this explicitly as a key weakness. If Houston can run effectively and keep the chains moving, they may force Buffalo into longer drives, more third downs, and fewer explosive plays. 3. Quarterback situation and its ramifications. For Houston, missing C.J. Stroud is significant not just in terms of offense, but in terms of play calling, confidence, and the ability to make big explosive plays. Davis Mills will be challenged to step up. For Buffalo, Allen remains healthy and in prime form, which is a big plus. The question is whether Buffalo's offense can overcome the short week, Thursday game, and the travel to Houston. 4. Injuries and roster absences. Buffalo will be without key offensive players: tight end Dalton Kincaid, wide receivers Curtis Samuel and Mecole Hardman Jr. These are significant because they reduce Buffalo's offensive weaponry and depth. Houston is missing safety Jalen Petra and other contributors, which weakens their defensive depth a bit. However, they still have a formidable front. 5. Recent form, momentum, and psychological edges. Buffalo played solidly last week, notably a 44-32 win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, with Allen shining. Meanwhile, the Texans are coming off a string of decent defensive performances, and while offense has been questionable, defense can keep them in games. Importantly, Buffalo hasn't won in Houston in nearly 2 decades. That historical drought adds a mental layer. Houston at home also brings crowd, environment, and short week to their favor to some extent. Let's get granular. We'll break down each team's offense, defense, and special teams, noting key players, strengths, weaknesses, and how they match up against the opponent. Buffalo Bills offense. Quarterback, Josh Allen, as noted, one of the most dangerous dual-threat quarterbacks in the NFL. He can beat you with his arm and legs. His performances this season have underlined that. Several previews mention his ability to carry the Bills on Thursday nights. Running game. The Bills have a reliable running game. They can lean on it to control tempo, especially when facing a defense like Houston's that might be vulnerable to the run if given the chance. Receiving core. While they have key injuries, Hardman, Samuel, and Kincaid is out, Buffalo still has weapons. However, the absence of these players may force Allen to rely more on other receivers and the running game. Run defense, as covered, the biggest red flag, allowing 5.4 yards per attempt and 153 yards per game. That's a liability. Pass defense. While stronger, the pass defense still will be tested because of Houston's defensive front and ability to pressure. Front 7. The Bills have pass rush and playmakers, but they may face a lot of early downs if Houston runs effectively, which could wear them. Turnovers and situational defense. Key for Buffalo will be forcing Houston into third downs, keeping them off the billboard, and limiting explosive plays. Quarterback, Davis Mills is stepping in for C.J. Stroud, who is unavailable due to a concussion. Mills has had some success in relief, completing 60.3% of his passes, throwing for 703 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception in his 2 relief appearances. Running game. With the pass game somewhat limited, the running game becomes more important for Houston. If they can get their backs involved and keep the Bills' defense off balance, that will be a key. Receiving core. Without a premier QB, the receiving unit must step up, making contested catches, generating yardage after catch, and converting third downs will matter. Strengths. Houston has great defense, good coaching, and an opportunity to control the game via tempo. Weaknesses. Offense is less consistent, missing their starting QB, and under pressure will need to avoid falling into long deficits. Overall, this is the Texans' calling card. They are top in the NFL in points allowed, 16.3 per game, and yards allowed. Rush defense versus pass defense. While they are strong overall, every defense has tendencies. If Buffalo can establish a run early, they may force Houston to adjust. Playmakers. They have defensive stars, good depth, and the ability to rush the passer and defend the run. The absence of safety Jalen Petra hurts, but still they remain formidable. Matchup versus Buffalo's offense. Houston's defense will try to minimize Allen's big play. The Buffalo Bills have the slight edge in overall talent, offensive firepower, and the ability of Josh Allen to make plays. However, the Texans are no slouch. Their defense is elite, home field gives them a boost, and the Bills face a short week of prep and travel. The key for Buffalo will be to avoid falling into Houston's game, slow, rugged, defensive. Instead, they want to impose their tempo. For Houston, if they can run the ball, control possession, and keep the score manageable, they have a chance to pull an upset that I believe the Bills will win this game. Given everything, I lean Buffalo 24, Texans 17. I expect the total points to stay under 43.5, given how strong the Texans' defense is and the short prep for Buffalo. For betting, Bills to win, but they may not cover the full 5.5-point spread. The under is a reasonable play. So there you have it, full breakdown of Week 12's primetime clash between the Buffalo Bills and Houston Texans. If you're tuning in, keep an eye on how the Bills manage the short week, how Houston's backup QB performs under pressure, and whether the run games tilt the balance. If you enjoyed this preview, be sure to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss our post-game review, and drop a comment below. Who do you think will come out on top and why? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you after kickoff. Enjoy the game.